Dawn.
I'd like to call this meeting of Wednesday, March 11th, Munhall Workshop, to order at 6:38 p.m. Phil, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you have any preliminary announcements from anybody tonight? We did have executive session prior to this meeting to discuss litigation that we're involved in and to have a class on computers. We took no action, and there will be no action taken. It was mostly informative. So with that, we'll go to the roll call.
Councilman Ballas.
Here.
Councilman Shields.
Here.
Councilman Bodadian.
Here.
Councilman Brennan.
Here.
Councilman Falls.
Here.
Councilman Ingalls.
Here.
President Lloyd.
Present. Okay, Agnes here. We had a couple of requests for comment from the public. Agnes Boyko. Agnes, if you want to approach the podium.
Aren't you Agnes?
Yeah, I'm Agnes. Like my skirt?
Apparently, Agnes got messed up on the time or changed her mind. With that, we'll move into new business. Bob had prepared a very extensive report. There were about 80 pages of material provided to us to review. Hopefully, most of us have reviewed that, and with that, we'll just let Bob run through his material.
I would make reference to your tablets on your email to go through the documents if you want to, otherwise I will make reference to them. The first thing I have on the agenda is road condition report and possible council road tour. Some council folks have expressed to me the horrendous condition of our roads, which we all certainly know. There haven't been any improvements on our roadways for a few years, certainly because of finances and economics. I did forward to everybody the PACER report that was completed by Chester a number of years ago. And on that PACER report indicates the particular conditions of the roads, whether they're good, poor, in between, or whatever. We have in our 2015 budget no capital improvements for roadways, other than in public improvements relative to pothole patching. Having said that, I would suggest, and certainly it's up to council, that at some Saturday perhaps, we get a van and all the council people that would be interested to get into that van, and we travel every roadway in Munhall and to cross-reference what we observed with our conditions report, and then come back and come up with some type of a suggestive improvement plan for the next 5 years. At best, that's going to be a beginning. As you know, I had mentioned in previous meetings that we're going to do a capital improvement plan. That's both a plan as well as a financing for that. And certainly part of the capital improvement plan is not just roads, it's sewer, as well as building and other properties or facilities. So I don't know if you had a chance to review that, but we certainly have our issues, and a week doesn't go by where we don't get a number of complaints regarding the condition of the roadways. So I would suggest, it's up to council of course, that now that the weather's breaking, perhaps sometime between now and late August, that we pick a Saturday and jump in the van and just eyeball all our roads.
Works for me.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Councilman Brennan, do you have anything?
Oh, I have something to say about this. That report that you sent out, I did read it. My head was sideways like this, trying to read it.
You gotta turn your computer.
Yeah, I'm not that savvy. But anyway, my concern is not with the repairs that we need to do. My concern is with the repairs that are being done and the excavation that's being done on our roads by the utility companies. I'm sure there's areas that I know have been open for 2 seasons they've been dug and patched and never been properly done. I'm questioning if we received any building permits for that, or road opening, street opening permits for that. If we have they fulfilled their obligations to curb patching of our roads, which is in our ordinance? I've driven around, I'm compiling my own stretch of streets that have not been maintained by us. I'm looking at, in particular, streets that have been repaired by utilities. Not the streets that are just crumbling away. I'm looking in particular at the streets that it should have been curb to curb repaired and aren't being done. I think I'd like to know, you know, where we're at with that. Do we keep a post of who's doing the work and when it needs to be done? How long do we give them to do this? You know, I think these are legitimate questions from the council to the utility companies, you know.
You know, the sewer authority don't have to go curb to curb.
I know, and
Just on the one project, just on the one
I
project.
think we should look at that again. I think we should revisit that. I think we're mistaken on doing
And that was just one project, though.
that. That was just one.
That was just one
You're
project.
absolutely
That
correct.
was just one, I mean, the rest of them, they have to comply with our ordinance.
You're correct.
But the reason that we didn't have the sewer authority do that is because it goes back to ratepayers, whether we pay for it or they pay for it. So, you know, it either comes out of the Munhall resident through their sewer bill, or it's gonna come out of Munhall resident through the taxes, and so that made sense. But Dave, don't you oversee that? Aren't you the guy, the go-to guy for the make sure they have street opening bonds and permits to know?
All I check is they send it to myself and Bob, and they open the streets. I mean, I've told past managers, I've even told Bob, he even knows as well, where if it's P American Water, they're bad pay.
Yep.
We
They've been like that.
We discussed this at the staff meeting this past Monday on this. Pennsylvania American Water is the worst offender. The gas companies are relatively pretty good with their permits and the restorings. The water company is pretty bad. Some of us did attend a workshop over at COG, I think it was last Friday, with Pennsylvania American Water. I'm not sure anything substantial came out of that. I can also tell you that tomorrow there is a utility summit that Councilman Ballas will be attending, as well as Public Works Supervisor Bicey and myself, with all the utilities relative to permitting and street restoration. It's a problem. I think we need to revisit our ordinance on the street opening permits, as well as the cost of the permits as well.
We should be asking them for a list of every street they opened, and when they opened it, and when they did their permanent repair. Because we have the right within 2 years to go back and say, this repair is inadequate, this repair didn't hold up, and within 2 years, we can call on that bond to repair the street.
If they didn't take a bond out or take a permit out, we have nothing to go back at them with.
But sometimes, don't they have a list that they never get to? Wasn't Troutman supposed to be done by P American Water last year, Bob? And they never touched it yet.
They had that strike last year,
Okay.
which put us, like 6 months behind.
Not just us, everybody.
Yeah, so there's about 3 or 4 streets this year that they have to
Is
finish.
Troutman still one of the ones on that list?
I think Trotman,
West Miller.
West Miller, West Eugene.
There's 20 streets I've stopped counting so far. It's not just 3 or 4 streets.
They've been on it for a while.
That-
They've been on
exactly.
it.
Well, they've been on
That
that
whole
one for
area
2
down
years.
there has just been
They've been
humbled.
off and on, yeah.
It's been that way for a while.
It's been that way for over 2 seasons.
Where at, Rich?
West Miller.
So I think we need to get some teeth in our ordinance, and I think we need to send them a letter saying, hey, come into our office and meet with us, if we have problems. We need to issue.
I don't know what's going on with the bottom of Troutman and West Miller. I call it Lake Shreve, where Carol Shreve lives. And there's always water sitting there.
You got a list
It's
of all of them.
it's getting worse and worse.
Send them a letter, say, you see the streets that you dug up and
Yeah.
they're not complete.
Right. I mean, I've compiled it already, started, just driving around while I'm working. And I see areas that are makeshift patched. I'm right in the intersection down, I'm right in the street down. You would not believe how many, just in the small area of Miller Avenue in there, that whole area is horrendous.
There's a hole right at the end of Shady now.
We had a water, there was a water main break in West Virginia where it's kind of shabby too, patchwork they did.
Well, we'll get a list together, and I think we'll have Vaskovic put them on notice.
Which I think that's, I don't know what our recourse is, honestly.
We've done that in the past, and we've gotten letters back from them saying that they were going to.
Well, they cold patch up until April 1st, and the
Yeah,
asphalt
they were gonna
factories open up, they're gonna go
comply.
back and, you know, do a better job.
Then I think we
Yeah,
also
come back.
need to look at who's gonna be responsible for taking care of this in the future. We can't just say, well, you know what, I'm not doing it, I think he's doing it, or maybe Bob's doing it, or we need to get something in writing saying, hey, this is gonna be either the street commissioner's job, this is gonna be the borough manager's job, this is gonna be the code enforcement man, the permit person, someone, we need to identify it and do it.
Do you want to set up a policy and procedures for that, Bob?
Yeah, we could do that, just to augment that. On my previous assignment, we've had the same issue, and it's, we increased the permit fee, the street opening fee to cover engineering costs for the inspection, you know, as well as other kind of things, and the way Pennsylvania American got around that is that they declared everything an emergency, and emergency does not require a permit, even though the emergency would not be taken care of for a month going out. And, I mean, that's wrong. So,
Well,
we had like $10,000 of permit fees that were not paid. So, I don't know what our cost is, but certainly, I know you were at the seminar on Friday, Bob. You weren't there, Dave, but was that addressed at all? Pennsylvania American, they will be addressed tomorrow.
Good.
But we'll
Good.
take a look at that.
Okay.
Be that as it may, we'll try to arrange sometime in between end of March and sometime in April, a tour for everybody that wants to tag along to take a look at eyeball roadways in conjunction with.
That's a great idea.
Okay. All right, I want to move on, and I want to change what we're doing here because it is 10 to 7, so I want to break from protocol. Council, you have a list of 18 items of which we just got through one. Take a look at any of those items. Again, backup material was presented in advance. If you have any questions for Bob, because I want to start the regular meeting right at 7, and we're just going to rehash the same things. So if you have any
This is the workshop meeting.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
No,
this is what,
And go ahead, and just
Yeah.
go down the list.
We're gonna go ahead and
Just let them go down the list, I'm staying corrected.
Next workshop.
Next item, backhoe front loader, consulting with Mr. Bicey that our current backhoe is probably on its last leg. This is something we certainly did not budget for in our 2015 budget deliberations. We did pass out some, of course, if we decide to do anything, we'd have to go out on bid anyway, but we're looking at an estimated cost on the low side probably is $75,000. It's something we did not budget for. As far as financing this, should council decide to do something on it, there is a capital loan fund through the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development that for equipment could go up to about $50,000, 50% at 2% interest. The balance, of course, would have to come from other sources, which in our case would have to probably be a bank loan or some type of other type of arrangement. Bob, if you want to give us just a quick, how much more life do we have than what we have now?
How old is that backhoe now?
I think it's 2005. It was never big enough to do the job we do.
would we be better served by a front loader than a backhoe? Because basically with the sewer authority, taking care of all their work now,
Yeah, we still need a backhoe to dig.
the dig,
This would be a combination backhoe front loader.
What's wrong, like the hydraulics or
Well, it just doesn't have the power it had before.
motor?
So it's either the motor training, I hate to put $10,000 into a $5,000 backhoe. That's why all we'll give us a trade is pay $5,000.
leasing one. At least in the interim. I don't know what a lease, what a lease would cost. I have no idea.
The people in the business would be Walsh Equipment and a few others.
Yeah.
We didn't explore it, I just wanna bring it to your attention that
I'm wondering what the cost is to repair the backhoe. $87,000 is a lot of money to just go out and
Some
throw out.
budget too.
I think we should seriously, has anyone looked at it?
Even if you put,
Has a
like
mechanic
he
looked
said,
at
if
it?
you put 10,000 into this, it might even last a year, now you put another 10,000.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, but it wasn't even looked at though.
No, I understand, I'm just.
It's not, no one, I don't know, that's a question I'm asking.
no.
I've seen backhoes
Did our
last
mechanic look at it,
35
Bob?
years, they're still
Or
working.
can't get looked at, it's not under their contract.
I can't get nothing from today.
There isn't anything.
Oh, okay.
Bob, how often do we use this backhoe?
Pretty much every day, every day.
Okay.
Especially in the winter where that's when we lose the load the salt and
Only have
everything.
is one piece of equipment. It's on the part.
we also load for Homestead too.
And the school district.
Can we ask Homestead and the school district to not help us out a little bit with this, since we do use the backhoe for some of their stuff?
We could ask.
I know we can ask, it doesn't hurt to ask, but since we do use their, that equipment is used for their purpose, it doesn't hurt to ask Mill Valley School District and
Jump
Homestead.
like you did.
I know they're gonna cry for it and.
Do we charge them for the use?
It
No,
doesn't hurt.
We don't charge Homestead or we don't charge the school district.
I just hate to see the next council come in with a $100,000 bill
I
that we
agree.
paid on
Not
this
just
one. And last year, we had a brand new garbage packer, 300-some thousand dollars, I think it was. Do we maintain the garbage packers? Well,
That's through our contract with First Vehicle.
why don't we have any body work done to the back of the packers? They're rusting and rusted, and I don't know how old they are, but I would think that we would take them to a paint shop or someone to maintain them a little bit, so they last longer.
Well, your life expectancy of the garbage truck trailers.
And that's it. So every 10 years, we need a $350,000.
No, the last truck we paid $170.
What's that?
Last garbage truck we paid $170,000.
Is that what it was? I mean, I don't know.
It costs around 200 when it's all said and done with financing.
Doesn't First Vehicle look at the body and do what, don't they weld or anything, or?
I've never asked them about
I thought steps and stuff whenever there was
the
steps.
steps they replaced because they don't trust welding.
Okay.
I'm not gonna look in and have the body work done. We're getting, probably 12 years of a garbage truck, 12, 13 years.
We're stretching pretty good.
Yeah, we're stressing out. We're done doing the maintenance, the oil changes and stuff like that.
And y'all are on a consistent basis now.
Well, back to the backhoe again. What's your estimation? Can we make it through the summer or,
I think we could, I mean, I'm just afraid of next winter when we start salting and having, the rock salt ate that thing apart too.
what?
The rock salt, it's in everywhere, they ate it apart.
One of the old locks out before we got the building back there, I remember them pounding away at it with a shovel.
Is this an off-the-shelf item, Bob? I mean, they have these in stock.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's not like the garbage truck where we had to wait 8 months. Well, I'd suggest that, in the fall, maybe in September, we look into a lease, and then we wouldn't have to actually start making payments until next year, but we would take delivery maybe like in December, and we would have it for next winter season. We wouldn't actually have to make payments until our next budget.
Something
Makes
like
sense?
That's feasible, yeah, definitely.
I think it would make sense to have someone look at the machine we have.
Well, that too, obviously.
Yeah, I think so.
In the meantime,
Who would you get to do that?
Highway equipment.
We have,
Highway equipment up in Butler.
Yeah, they come in, but there's like, they're $300 an hour. And they did,
Could be
last time they
money.
serviced it, they did say
Yeah.
the rear end was going bad.
I think we should do that first before we even proceed down the line, myself.
Well, we'll talk about that in September.
I know that, I know that.
Yeah, there's plenty of time to have the equipment like that.
Right.
Can we arrange that, Bob, to have someone come in and just give us an evaluation and a report maybe by next meeting?
Or they look at everything, the transmission,
Yeah.
motor.
And, you know, I'm sure they'll give us an estimate and tell us how much life we have in that left.
They'll tell you, depends on who's driving.
Hope it doesn't take them a week, huh?
Okay, next item I have on the agenda is report on the tax increment financing. We did send out to you a report that was submitted by Bill Stasko, just reporting on the update of the TIF. And there is a meeting scheduled at the COG on March 25th at 3 p.m. among 3 municipalities in relation to the continuation of the COG serving as the administrative agent for the TIF. So that was just a report for your need to know. Where's mine? The next item I have is the Park and Recreation Board ordinance. I drafted an ordinance, sent it over to the solicitor for his review. He tweaked it a little bit, and we now have that advertised to be adopted at our next meeting, the meeting next week, for the formation of a Park and Recreation Board. When we discussed this a month or so ago at the Finance Committee meeting, it was suggested that we outline the different neighborhoods where we would want to solicit participation to be on the board. The solicitor suggested not to do that because since the ordinance is a law, we would be held to that. So in relation, at least to that particular item, we left it open-ended that we will seek candidates to be on the board from various parts of Munhall without designating the actual neighborhoods. Because what happens if we don't, and we're subject to amending the ordinance in the future,
So
so.
if somebody wouldn't apply from a certain area, and then all of a sudden they went on the board, and they move on somebody, or?
Yeah, this keeps it open-ended because the intent of it is to have as fair representation throughout the borough to be on the board. So that ordinance will be submitted for adoption at the meeting next week. Since it's been advertised, solicitor will ask for any comments. As to the composition of the board, we're looking at 7 people, hopefully representative from different parts of Munhall. What remains to be discussed is what would be the credentials. Credentials in my minds are, number 1, obviously a Munhall resident, and number 2, be current on their taxes with the municipality, and number 3, at least express an interest to serve the municipality well relative to the facilities and the programming for both the parks and the recreation. Not necessarily those that are actually volunteering within different athletic groups, but generally keep it open-ended. So following the hopeful adoption of the ordinance next week, we will then place a press release in both the Valley Mirror and the Daily News for any interested Munhall resident that from different parts of the borough to submit their credentials to the borough, to the council, and then hopefully maybe by June you will have selected those 7 people.
One thing I questioned about in reading that, was the terms. 5-year term, I believe, is what you had proposed on there. It seemed like kind of a long term.
Well, with 5 members, I thought it was gonna be
7.
like
7 members.
It'll be staggered, but
It'll be
initially-
staggered, yeah.
It'll be staggered. Initially, you'll have,
That's what I thought it was.
they'll have to work out their own bylaws, which of course we'll draft for them and have their election of their officers, but we're looking at staggered terms eventually to start out. It doesn't have to be 5.
Right, and I'm just,
It'd be great.
I'm just conversation with you, that's all.
I think 5 is long as well.
I think 5, but I don't wanna go much less though, I mean, I compromise on the 4. I mean, I think 2 is too short, once somebody's getting, up on the ground, learning, understanding what they wanna do, then they're coming, 2 years to be reappointed. But I would say 4
Projects
years.
are 4 and 5 years,
No compromise on a 4 year.
You know, you wanna wait to see if when they get together, and they come up with bylaws, because you know what happens? Get these people the first year they're on the board, they don't ever show up again.
They quit,
They
right?
quit, they walk away from it, and then you have all kind of openings. I'd be like surprised and happy at the same time that you had people who would stay there for 5 years straight. They'll wander off.
To make it 3-year terms, 2 terms consecutive, and then no, after that, you're off for 6 years. It's just,
I wanted to bring that out there. I'm not against it, but I read it and I thought, that seems like a long time.
But once they all find out we get $20,000 for recreation, they'll probably all quit the first week. So, you know, there's no money to do anything.
But I believe what Joe said, though.
What's that?
You know, you give it 2 or 3 years, you just get into a project,
Yeah,
next thing you're gonna
there's
run it.
Right.
You know, a lot of projects, you know, since we only do have 20,000, you know, a year to do that, you know, it takes a couple of years to really do a project, do it the right way, you know,
Well, we
that's
do
my
things
take
right.
on
If you
that.
have to make a change, I'd compromise on a 4-year term.
In 4 years, probably would be, I think we ought to let it up to them, you know, let their committee decide what they want to do.
Fast, we'll make the final decision, but they can kick it
well,
amongst
no,
themselves.
the council has to appoint the people
Right.
for
You know,
certain, you know.
We're the ones that's the point for the length of the term they'll be on too, they'll be part of the appointment.
Maybe appoint like 4 for 4 years and 3 for 2 years.
Well, initially, we appoint everybody, and then once they develop the bylaws, then they'll determine the staggered.
Kind of good, that's fine.
The, I mean, it's,
That's how we do it with the short one.
Yeah.
we have the Westfield, once that's done, you're probably looking at an annual $40,000 to $80,000 cost just in maintenance. You're looking at we're gonna be doing hopefully a multi-municipal park and recreation plan that will include Troutman, Woodhill, 1 or 2 others, maybe the facility, the property down on the waterfront. We want the board to at least assume responsibility for the maintenance and the development of that. Of course, they're accountable to council for any decision. That takes the burden off of council and puts it on the Park and Recreation Board. If you want to change it to 4, it doesn't matter. Right now, I think we have 5-year term, 5 years.
Do you ever,
You want to, what do you want to do?
No, it's already advertised, so we can't really change it.
What do they wanna do?
No, we have the ordinance, the number advertised, but not the ordinance itself.
I think we can live with the 5. I mean, I don't know who brought up Harvey or Bernie or somebody, through attrition, people are gonna be on this board some of the 2 years, and they're gonna be sending resignation
Be
letters in.
surprised.
People are gonna be moving, their jobs are gonna dictate that they can't make the
But they-
meetings.
then the bylaws are gonna have
So-
something, if you don't show up for so many meetings, you're off.
Right, I think if we're not participating in attrition.
No one's gonna be there for
We
5
can
years.
keep it at 5, and we'll, you know, out of that 7-member board, I'd be surprised if 2 stay on for 5 years.
That can always be changed.
Yeah.
I don't want to delay.
I would keep it at 5 for now, and,
I don't either.
and through attrition, I think people will be replacing themselves.
I don't think you're gonna see anybody sit there for 5 years. Right?
No, maybe 1 or 2.
One or two.
We'll move
Okay.
forward with that.
All right, thank you.
Is that what we're gonna do?
Yeah, we'll move forward as is, and then it can get changed later.
Next item, Main Street Christmas decorations, about $5,700, the borough participation with the business community. I did have a meeting with Dr. Spelman, who's the chair of the Main Street Business Association. They have an idea of, for Main Street, different Christmas decorations, which essentially would be the snowflake, which is at the top, if you can remember. That's what the association is presenting. He did give me a cost of roughly for 26 of those snowflakes, which I guess are 3 foot by 4 LED lights, of $5,707. He's also solicited the business community of each business to contribute about $200 each toward that cost, plus maybe more. So I said I would certainly bring it up to council. We do have it budgeted for $7,500 for Christmas decorations. We have since purchased some decorations for this building. I don't remember what that cost is, but it was roughly no more than $2,000. So we do have the money for Christmas decorations. So that is an item that I wanted to bring to your attention. And the check would be written and given to the business association to go ahead and order those Christmas decorations.
Where do we store the present ones? The ones we have now, the ones that, you know, yeah, where do we store them at, Bob? at number 4. Will there be room for these?
Probably not.
I think these will replace those.
Yeah, I mean, you're not with them, I mean, we're gonna get rid of those other ones, but
That storage shed up there is in between if you're staring at number 4 on the right, there's a ramp that goes back and there's a storage shed back there. It's jammed full of those of the wreaths.
Because they're already gone.
Well, those things
if
are
they're
only,
gone,
they're only
no
this
problem.
thick.
Yeah,
There's only 6 of them.
yeah. So the
They're only
reason,
2 inches thick.
I guess,
These things here.
And heavy.
That's the top row there. the
yeah,
first
these
one.
new ones, I mean, they're LED, so they should be light and thin, but still, we have to make sure we have a good place to store them.
That's fine, that's a perfect place to store them, and that's where I would recommend they go. But there's no room in there until we get rid of the old ones.
The old
There's
ones are-
some-
Oh, we'll get rid of the old ones, I mean, we can
Just
put
scrap
them on
back into
eBay,
the old ones.
on eBay, somebody will buy them.
We bought the last ones, we had bells,
Yeah,
we had wreaths, somebody bought those.
You do that. Yeah, some cost.
Good
on
idea,
eBay.
good idea. Who puts those up?
The firemen
And,
you ever lived till you spend a day putting those big.
that's
wreaths
my
up?
lead into what I wanted to talk about. I'm meeting with Carmen from the barber shop on this Friday, and we're talking about the pictures of the military men, soldiers from the town. I'm gonna meet with the person who's in charge of that, and Carmen and I were talking, and we were talking about doing that through the business district, and I told him that I would ask the fire chief if the firemen would be willing to put them up.
Yeah, that's fine, I'm sure it wouldn't be a problem to put them up.
Okay.
But we'll need the brackets and the assemblies and all that stuff, because we put all the brackets up for these ones, so
Right.
we can do that if you provide us with what we need to do.
Right, now secondly, that led me into in my conversation with Carmen was, well, Carmen, maybe we might wanna put them on 8th Avenue. Or maybe someone might wanna put one in a different district. And who are we to say yes, yay, or nay on that? So I just wanted you guys to maybe talk about it for a second and think about, do we just wanna restrict it to Main Street? Or do we wanna put some on the avenue?
I think we purchase those.
How's
The
that?
individual who wants them will purchase them.
I think we can start with Main Street, then if there's a demand,
There's
then we go to
one
Eighth, then we go to Eighth
You know,
Well, yeah, I mean,
we
we're not gonna put it on
start
Fourth
with
Avenue.
Street, you know.
Right,
Do they have a vendor?
We don't wanna put it
They
down
do,
on
they
Sycamore
do.
Street, you know.
Because Castle Shannon did that, it was very nice.
West Mifflin.
West
Mifflin has it all, yeah.
right, so my thought was to start on Main Street, obviously,
Right.
but if someone said, well, I'd like to have one maybe down on the business district in 8th Avenue.
I think we would tell them that's phase 2, if we have enough people that wanna go down there.
I think one would look out of place,
Yeah, you know, I mean, if
so
there's
you
not,
got
you know.
maybe
Right.
10 or so,
Right, you
you know,
know,
take a
one or
certain
two
number.
down there.
You
I
have
don't
to
see a
kinda-
problem, I think that's a good idea.
You have to be kinda considerate of what Homestead and West Homestead are doing on the avenue, because we tend to try to do things all the same down there. And it's,
They did?
yeah, it's,
It's another item I have on my agenda, by the way.
I don't know if that would have to go to Harb or not. Would that have to, something like that, go to the Harb board?
I don't think so.
Eh, you-
I
It's
just
not a
wanted,
structure,
I
that's a
just
structure.
wanted to bring that up for future.
We can only do the mud portion of it,
If you
because
can include me,
Let's
in
get-
that,
I don't know.
that would be helpful.
I will,
I was gonna go.
let you know what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
last
Thanks
week
for
to the
bringing that
meeting,
up.
too.
Okay.
I'm going. You was still on the committee, it would be.
Next item is the Upper Mon Basin meeting, March 23rd at the Carnegie Library. This is part of the consent decree thing, and the Three Rivers Wet Weather, which is charged with administering the various basins in Allegheny County. I don't think this basin has met for quite some time, but again, that's March 23rd at the Homestead Library, Carnegie Library in Munhall at 7 o'clock. And I did pass out information for those who want to attend. For your information, change of the voting for the former firehouse, Charles Street, it's now been officially moved. The voting will no longer be there, but, it's no longer gonna be at the firehouse, but there's another
And
alternative.
Ashley Church.
Yeah, they didn't, the county did not indicate where it was, but it's.
I got a letter from the county, actually, I was gonna bring and give it to you, but
I thought that was.
Dan Ashley Church. It'll be a nice, they have a nice hall there, so they can, someone can have a dinner there during the closing.
Oh, yeah, they have a very nice hall.
Yeah, that's good. So they could still keep the traditional.
Which really isn't, which is actually a different voting district,
That's what I was gonna say, it's definitely.
Close enough.
close enough.
The other item I have is the infamous flyover guardrail, guide rail. The county, as you know, has agreed to replace the damaged guide rail right now. They do have an estimated cost of roughly $8,500. The county will proceed to have a contractor do that, under the proviso, however, that Munhall meet its commitment with PennDOT to have the proper signage, I guess on 837 leading up to the ramp. I didn't bring this up to the at the staff meeting on Monday. The police chief assures me that we have the proper signage. Dave, if you want to address it, you can. I like to have photographs so I can send it on to the county to make sure that it complies. I'm not sure it does. So they want some evidence that whatever signage, and that was a letter that was addressed to the police chief back in January 2014 as to the signage requirements. So we have to make sure that we comply before the county is going to let that contract. Just for your information. Next item, the mayor isn't here, but the purchase of one police vehicle. The mayor has requested 2 police vehicles. At the time that we did our 2015 budget formulation, we've asked all the departments, as well as council and the mayor, to submit requests to me. Never at any time was there a request for 2 vehicles. We do have budgeted money for 1 new vehicle, and that's probably under budgeted. We have $30,000 earmarked for that. It's probably gonna be in the tune of $33,000 to $34,000. So I just wanna bring it to your attention that we're budgeted for 1 vehicle, not 2.
We've always, I mean,
We've always
past
bought
practices,
two
we've always done 2 vehicles.
But we release them,
Yeah.
we release them, not buying. I don't know how much of a difference money-wise that makes.
A lot.
I'm just telling you, at the time of the
Yeah.
formulation, no one has answered that to us.
Yeah, I didn't.
Does this come to a formal vote, or do they just go out and purchase?
No,
one?
we haven't budgeted, we don't need a vote to purchase one.
So they can just go purchase one, or do we purchase one, that is my question.
We do, council.
Can you, being it's not budgeted, Bob, can you tell, if they want a second vehicle, they could take it out of forfeiture money?
No, you can't.
Yeah, it's
We-
budgeted.
It's not budgeted, no, I mean, if the second, if they want a second
And
one.
it's something that's budgeted, it's with police cars, you can't do it.
No, you
Even though you
can't.
didn't budget it, you can't say you only budgeted once, you can buy 6 more to.
Okay.
And the other thing, because it was budgeted in the past for that, you can't just leave one off and then use that money for this time.
I've approached that with the chief for the difference of the cost of $3,000-4,000, and I got documentation, you can't do that.
Okay.
To buy another one.
If it's something that's ready to be in your budget for the last 30 years, you can't do it. Now, body cameras have never been in the budget before.
Right,
We
right.
can use it for that.
Okay.
Could we check on the lease? I mean,
I question how many vehicles we have. I think we have 12, the 12, 11.
That's how we always did it, we leased them and,
yeah, every year we just let the oldest 2 go, sold them, and or
Every 2
let them
years.
back.
So are we leasing the ones we have, or or are they all paid for?
I'm not sure, I
If the
thought
chief
we
was here,
were
we could
leasing
ask him,
them.
I don't know.
Pardon me?
If the chief was here, we could ask, he keeps up on
Yeah,
it.
he keeps,
I
yeah,
thought the last two were leased.
that's what I thought.
yeah, they were.
If we can lease 2 for $30,000, we're okay.
Well, excuse me then, someone's writing a check for a lease every month. Are you writing a check for a lease every month?
We write checks to the leasing company, yes.
So we are leasing,
Once a year.
once a year.
Well, I bring that to your attention because I said no, just one.
I mean, could we just check? I mean, would it, take a lot to check to see what, what a lease would cost and come back and figure that out? I know we've been getting 2 and we've been leasing, I know that. And that seems to be working pretty good. I mean, even the first vehicle money we're paying, we're getting money
Do
back.
we need a new vehicle?
I'd like to
My
get a
question,
report-
that's
I'd
my
like to get a
initial
report-
back.
I'd like
Do
to
we
get a
need
report.
11 police cars, do we need a new one?
I'd like to get a report from the chief on the condition of the 11
Yeah,
vehicles
what
we
are-
have. I like, you know, and maybe we don't.
Maybe we don't.
Let's get a report from the chief.
I'm still waiting for I'm still waiting for the
I
annual report.
know.
And then
We
we
need
have,
11.
like the fire vehicles, we got a list of all the vehicles and how many miles they had on them and what condition.
Pat did that a couple, I think last year Pat did that all the way down the list all the way.
We should get that every year.
Well, let's get a report on 11 vehicles, mileage, their condition, they're in.
What
and
year they
some
are.
each year,
In answer to
and
your
so forth.
question, Mr. Brennan, if we get that report from the chief law enforcement officer, we'll be able to look at that. and
Well,
make an
thank you. It
educated
shouldn't be like
decision.
pulling teeth to ask a simple question like that.
I agree.
Well, you know, the police cars go through a beat.
Yeah, I mean, I know at one time we had cars that had like 90, 100,000 miles on them, I mean,
I think
that's
they'll be
some really bad
There's
stuff.
130,000 miles on a police car average.
Those are rough times. Different drivers all the time.
I think we should ask for the mileage, like you're saying,
Yeah, we should have that somewhere.
and how old they
Condition,
are.
age of the vehicle.
We did that
Exactly.
one time, we did that one time.
We have, I've seen it before,
We
but
got
I
a
haven't seen one this
report
year,
on
though,
it.
you're right.
That
I haven't
was,
seen one this year.
I think before we purchase any or lease any, we should have that information, Mr. President.
I agree with you. We'll
Okay.
request that. We'll requisition that from the law enforcement department.
Thank you.
I like how you say that.
Okay, we will get back.
Sounded good at least.
It sounds like-
Next item, number 10, Utility Summit. Tomorrow, there is it's called a Utility Summit that's been hosted by Connect, of which Munhall is a member, along with 36 other municipalities that circle Pittsburgh. Councilman Ballas will attend, Bob Bicey, our engineer will attend, as well as myself. I understand there'll be about 150 people there from the 37 municipalities. And again, we're meeting with the decision makers from Columbia Gas, Peoples Gas, Pennsylvania American Water. I don't think Duque Light will be there, and maybe one or two others. That we're gonna be meeting, talking about, what their construction plans are, restoration of roadways, street opening permits, trying to standardize that among all the municipalities. So, I don't think there's gonna be any decisions tomorrow, but it's the first dialogue for a number of municipalities to be face-to-face with the utilities.
I think
Joe,
good
maybe
place
you
to
can
ask.
ask for our
Yeah.
$10,000
Yeah.
for street opening permits.
Or when they gonna fix our streets,
Yeah.
according to our, yeah.
Give us a schedule.
In the afternoon, they'll be breaking out into different groups, of which we're all part of the Mon Valley. So if Pennsylvania American Water's in our group, they're probably gonna get beat up pretty good, so.
I know we're not the only community coming after them.
We'll get
I don't
lost.
think miles of it.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
More than us.
3 years ago, the water line broke in my yard, come through my house. And they weren't nice people to deal with. And of course, neither I was at the time, so I can understand how, but they're tough. They're really tough. I had a hole in my front yard for months, trying to get the fill in and plant grass.
I remember that.
Oh.
You had indoor pool though.
Your neighbor was, your neighbor helped
I
us.
had to do it before my face. Yeah, the rabbit was floating around the baby, yeah.
Next item, Local Government Academy. I mentioned a month ago that we put in an application along with many other municipalities, attempting to get a graduate intern to assist me on developing a 5-year capital improvement plan. We were one of, I believe, 18 municipalities that were awarded a graduate intern.
Great.
The cost is like $5 an hour for us. Local Government Academy picks up the additional cost. This will be from June to August, that will be the assignment. Next Friday, I'll be at a meeting with my colleagues to interview all the graduates and see who wants to hitch on with Munhall. At any rate, I'm glad we got that, because it's a document we're certainly gonna need, and to have someone young enough and smart enough to help us get that accomplished. The other item, Munhall Homestead, West Homestead, Park and Recreation Multi-Municipal Plan. We did adopt a resolution at the last meeting to submit an application with our two partners. I met with my two colleagues this morning for breakfast, and West Homestead is going to take the lead on actually doing the application for Munhall Homestead and West Homestead. It has to be submitted electronically to the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. To do a comprehensive recreation plan. The estimated cost is about $90,000, of which 50%, if we're successful in getting money, would be $45,000, and the balance would be split among the three of us, which would be roughly $15,000, short of receiving any other grants. That would not kick in until our 2016 budget, however, because we will not know until October of this year if we would be funded or not. So that would include all of our parks and recreation facilities as well as the other two. We counted 10 among the three of us, including the one down on the waterfront that we don't have any title to yet, which would be included in the comprehensive development plan. So we did pass a resolution to participate, so I just want to give you that update.
And both other municipals have agreed to that as well?
Yes. And when you do things on a multi-municipal basis, you're more likely to get funded than not. That's not to say we will, but, you know, the brownie points will be there for you.
What kind of funding are we looking for?
90 grand. About 90 grand to do the total comprehensive plan for recreation facilities.
That's to do the plan.
That's all this is for.
Correct.
It's just for $90,000?
If you do
And
the
it
plan,
costs us half of that to apply?
15, not to apply, but if we're awarded, our cost would be 15,000 of the 90, our share.
The state kicks up half the money, and then each
Matching funds.
municipality takes a third of the balance.
Okay.
If we're awarded, and hopefully we are, it's up to us to accept it or reject it.
It's like matching funds is what it is.
I got
It's
it. I didn't understand
Yeah.
that. Thank you.
The other item I have here is the avenues report and discussion. There's an initiative among the three boroughs relative to forming a community development corporation that would encompass Homestead, West Homestead, and Munhall on 8th Avenue. There was a report that was issued in August of last year. I'm coming into this late. I had a conference call on this last week with the lead consultant, and I think Dan was representing Munhall at a number of the meetings, as well as other people from the other municipalities. I honestly don't know where they're at with this. There's been no funding yet, but essentially at some point, this group will be approaching Munhall for $5,000 to go toward this three boroughs effort toward the revitalization and the redevelopment of the 8th Avenue Business District among the three boroughs. I don't think they have any funding right now. I just bring this to your attention because it's starting to have some legs and it's making its rounds.
Well,
If you want, I can defer to you for.
Yeah, I've been to several of the meetings, and it's kind of like an old park meeting from 15 years ago that I
Try
used to go
25.
to, or
Try
20,
25.
25, whatever. No, I'm not that old. But,
That's pretty old.
you know, it's new people, new energy. I think they thought it was gonna be easy to get money. My own personal opinion is that I'm somewhat disappointed because they put out a request for proposals from several organizations that all bid on doing a study. And frankly, you know, their main interest at this point is to take, if they do get funded, to take this funding and hire an office staff. And, you know, I mean, the enterprise zone puts money on the street and they actually do things, and they don't have a full-time office staff, they have a part-time office staff, they're very effective. And I have a problem allocating, you know, a couple $100,000 a year to an office staff that then doesn't have any money to put on the street. And you know, you've got MVI, you've got HERC, you've got the enterprise zone. I'm not saying what they're doing isn't a good thing, but it's very difficult to get money to hire an office staff that has no money to distribute or put on the street.
Dan, wasn't there a study done a couple years back? That's when they renamed it the Avenues, it was the Avenues
was.
Project.
There was, I think there
There
was.
definitely was, and I mean, they wanted to redo the intersection of 8th and Amity. They were putting kiosks up and,
That's been talked about by
yeah, I mean, there was,
There's never any money to do it.
yeah, right. I thought, I mean, Allegheny County was the one I thought who came in.
They were gonna-
This group is just in direct conflict with the enterprise zone, I believe, is what
I
they're
don't know
trying
about
to do.
direct, but
It's different,
indirectly.
it's different entities, but different ways. to
Who's
do
in
business.
charge of this group?
Bill Tatry, I think and Cheryl Chapman's the president, I believe.
But the bottom line is, there's only so much funding out there, and,
They're going after the same bucket of money.
and the enterprise zone is not gonna be funded anymore as it
The
is.
money's gone.
There's a bucket and this is.
They don't have any tax
you know.
credits to give out anymore.
Well,
That's exactly what you're talking about, was tax credits. That's right.
well, that's a different,
The enterprise zone is no longer funded either by the state.
Right. This group won't be able to issue and do tax credits. They're
Right.
strictly looking for grants and foundation money to improve the avenue, to improve, parks, recreation, green space. Again, one of the groups that they touted very highly, you know, I looked on their website, the only thing I ever saw them do was plant some trees on the Route 51 corridor, and I thought, you know, we don't need $500,000 to plant some trees. That said, I'm to go with them on Friday to Senator Costa's office, to bring him up to speed, and they're trying to get some money. But, you know, they had asked us if, and I think they approached the enterprise zone as well about taking some of the administrative money and getting a $5,000, did they not?
I think they did.
Which would have required a rewriting of the bylaws to get that money, and I don't think that's gonna be forthcoming from the enterprise zone.
They were very much against it, I believe.
So, anyway, that's the
Well,
report.
I'll just bring that for your information, that that's still out there, and we'll probably hear about it in the future. Next item, Colonial Life and analyzing voluntary employee insurance. Just to let you know that we have, of our nearly 49 employees, we probably have more than half voluntarily have, over the years, participated in either accidental death or life insurance, hospital payment in lieu of something or other with Aflac, Sun, State Farm, Colonial, and it's gotten to the point where we have to make the payments to these insurance companies that some of our employees don't even know what they have. So I made arrangements just for Colonial Life to come in and take a look at all the plans that our employees have and to recommend whether they could get a better deal, or what they have is okay. I just wanted you to know that. There's no obligation, there's no requirement for anybody to do anything. So we've had 1 or 2 education sessions, and we'll have a rep coming in on Friday to talk to those employees that want to talk to see if they're getting the better bang for the buck. So just wanted to let you know that.
Are we eligible?
Council?
Yeah.
No.
You're not?
No, because you have to be an employee that's already participating in it.
We're not employees of the borough.
The volunteer, what happens, Rick, is that the
Understand.
employees that voluntarily out of their own pocket have other insurance, that's by payroll deduction.
Right.
So then that's paid by payroll deduction, and then in turn, we pay monthly the premiums to the carriers. And we have
Like Aflac.
4 or 5 different
I
carriers.
actually think you're eligible under that new law that made you eligible to participate in.
Right.
To participate in the health insurance plan, as long as you reimburse the cost. This is voluntary.
That's what the mayor.
I think we could be.
I think you can.
I
If
think
you
it
want to
changed
show up
last
on
year.
Friday anytime from
I'll be
11 to
here.
noon,
I'll be
you
here.
can certainly do that. I'm out of my league talking about insurance, I'll defer that to someone
That
else.
is a new law.
It was just a curious question.
Whoever wanted to do that.
Mayor wanted to.
There was a walk past.
He wanted to pay for it.
Right.
Yeah.
At home, you pay for it.
He could take it.
Remember when everybody got tapped on the shoulder, remember?
And we voted he could do it if he would pay for it. You know,
That was the
reimburse the
law.
borough.
Yeah.
I think,
He could go to the borough's.
I
plan,
believe he
had to
came in the
reimburse.
next
He was
meeting.
mad at all.
has some choice words for us, too.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Okay, let me see.
Ratified by Mark Darnley.
Well, the next item is that Mark Turley has given us a quote of $6,000 to do the 2014 audit. We're not gonna get anything better than that, I can tell you right now. So I'm gonna put that on the agenda for the next meeting to go ahead and authorize to contract with him. I've asked him to send me his contract language as of 5 o'clock. I haven't gotten that, but hopefully I'll have that by next Wednesday. Volunteer Fire Department number 3, repairs. We
Why
have,
are we repairing number 3, we're selling
is it number 3 or number 4?
Should be 4.
Four.
It says.
2.
That's the borough bill.
That's 4, right?
But forget the number for a moment, Bob.
Is that the estimate I gave you?
Yeah, this is the one from Haas.
For number 2. This is here,
Number
borough
2.
building.
But why don't we just talk a little bit, the chief chime in too, because we have problems, serious problems at the fire department in this building. And it's been ongoing, and it's been ongoing too long, it has to be repaired.
Exactly, right.
And I believe something else, so if you wanna just address that, because this is not a budgeted item, but it's certainly something that has to be attended to.
Number 2, it's in pretty poor condition as far as, the wall, and there's a couple other things, but the wall leaks in the front of, the station downstairs where the meeting room is. It comes down from the above and runs down the wall. Now there's there, and then there's also problems in the truck bay.
The integral wall?
Ceiling leaks, no, it's on
The inner wall or the outer wall?
outer wall,
Outer wall.
but not on the alley side, on the truck bay side. Glenn will add to this too, because he's more familiar with it than I am, but, and also that they do have some ceiling leaks in the building as well, because that's the drop down portion of the ceiling. The roof's bad there too, we never repaired that. And they can't really make any improvements to the building, they just merged. They're having trouble justifying making improvements to the building, anything they do is gonna get ruined. That water runs down there, there's gonna be mold issues, so they have some potential problems there. Lenny, you wanna add to that?
Yeah, I don't know, we don't know exactly where the leak's coming from, but it's from the driveway where the vehicles exit. There's that drainage system there, that's where the wall is at. It comes down that wall into the kitchen and meeting room area down there, so we have that wall ripped out, just so that it would be air dry, but anytime you get a significant rain, it slowed down a little bit when they did the sealing of the asphalt there, but it didn't stop.
Is there a room below there?
Yeah.
So that's the room we're talking about?
Yes.
We tried to seal that, and that doesn't do it.
I think,
We have an estimated cost of $2,500 for a French drain there.
And then, the roof part, that's been bad for,
since we did the other roof,
Since we did the
What
other.
was that, 10 years?
Right.
if
no,
not
it's
longer.
even been that long.
You know who's really good at looking at that and figuring, Danny Keysecker worked for Mary Ann and Richards for years. Why don't we get Danny down there to take a look at it, he'll do it for us, maybe give us an idea where to start with.
Well, one of the things is we don't have the money, but what I would suggest, and this isn't in the report or in Bob's part of the report, but I think we all saw Vaskovic sent the documents over preparing number 3 to be sold. I think we should, you and I talked about this a long time ago, Barney, is dedicating a good portion of the money from the proceeds of the sale of number 3 for you guys to fix what we need to fix here at number 2.
There are
The new
two-
central fire.
There are more issues, I was gonna write up a thing for Bob. Number 5 has some door problems that they need fixed.
Yeah.
Doors don't-
That's been for a couple of years
That's been
now.
a couple of years, they were supposed to get
There's
this.
water issues at number 4 caused by before they replaced the roof. It really got bad. And the building, it needs sealed and pointed in some areas. The water's infiltrating and coming down into the meeting room downstairs. I believe those are a lot easier to fix than what we're talking about number 2.
Didn't Mark
They all
Wanda
need done.
do some dye testing over there?
We get, well, they could, yeah, we have no idea where it went though. I don't think he could
Okay.
determine where,
Because I thought he said some of it was coming in between where the sewer was and the bay itself, the cement for the bay. There's like a caulking that wasn't there. I don't know, is that what you guys try to fix up?
Do we have any
Or-
potential
or-
buyers for number 3?
We didn't go out yet, we just got the documents
That's
from
bad.
Greg yesterday. We were looking at asking price of $90,000 to go out and seal bid. So that will happen within the next 30 to 45 days.
Are you talking to Greg about that?
Is that the cost? No.
I think what he said we need to do is because we have an appraisal, is that we have to put the minimum at what the appraisal is.
That's
And then if we,
121.
if we get no bids, then we can lower that and go out again if there are no bids. So I think that's.
The sooner we sell it, the sooner we can get some work done to these other.
Yeah.
Well, I agree.
The problem was, Rick, we didn't have the deed, so we had to order a deed so we could have the description for part of the bid, so people knew the lot and block and meets and bounds and all that, so if people wanted to look at it, they would know. So we just got that in yesterday. But we do have authorization to go out for sealed bid. And I think the last meeting, we said the 90,000 would be the upset price, but the appraised value is
I thought that was a good price. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I think
think
what Greg said is we have to start with 121, start
That's
with
what
the
he said.
appraised, yeah, it's all moved on.
So assuming we get no bids, then we may be able to buy
Put it
it.
121, hopefully we get it done. That'd be great.
But they also have to tell us what their potential reuse will be.
You might be able to do like a 50
So that'll be advertised in the next 5-7 days. In the meantime, we do have serious issues here. We have an estimated cost of roughly $13,000 just for number 2.
That's to do everything.
For number 2.
That's put a French drain, sub pump, put the wall back, the ceiling, paint everything.
Number 2.
Number 2.
This is here, yeah,
Yes.
it says 3.
New floor too.
That's wrong, it's be 2.
Who gave us the estimate?
Haas.
I got one from Ross and one from Franz and never came through.
I think we need to get more than one estimate.
What was the other one we got?
From Franjo, he gave us, I got that one, but he never put the French drain in it.
But his cost was $13,000
Yeah, so it'd be another 2.
without the French drain. Since it's that amount for a borough, we need to get telephone quotes if it's over 10 but under 18. Anything over 18.5, we need sealed bids. So we at least need to get some type of telephone or written quotes.
I think
We
we
got
should
2.
at least get, you only have one.
No, I was written one from Franjo.
Does he have it?
But, yeah, but it doesn't include the French drain, he did not.
Yeah, he didn't
It's
finish
not,
the quote.
not equal.
Who else would we ask?
It should just put it out in paper.
Oh, we don't
Yeah,
have
we-
it. We could just make a phone call.
It's under a certain amount, so you just have to call.
Between 10 and 18, all we need are telephone and fax quotes. If it's over 18 something rather than we need
And what's the warranty on this, Bob?
You know people you can call?
me?
I think the cell phone.
Yeah, 10-year warranty.
No, I'm talking about, if we're gonna pay somebody to stop the water from coming in, they gotta stop the water from coming in. So what's our, what's the recourse if, and there's gonna have to be a contract on this.
Oh, yeah.
The company that we got for the front of the building, is that still working up there?
Yeah, I don't know who did it.
That was Butler.
Where do they
Was it
intend
Butler?
to put the French drain in?
Oh, I don't have no
Along the
idea.
front, where the fire hole doors are, the garage doors. They'll pump it out in the alley.
They're gonna cut a trough in there, put a pipe in there, and are they gonna put grading along there? They are gonna put grading there.
If you could suggest 1 or 2 other contractors, we'll certainly do that.
When we got the front of the police entrance part done, we got all that done, and the weight room, and we had to use a bigger company. They were the only ones that would give us any type of warranty.
Who?
And I'm not sure, I wanna say Butler, but I mean, that doesn't
From
sound.
Baker?
Baker.
Baker
That's who it was, Baker Waterproofing. They were one of the only ones that would give us any type of warranty at all.
And that's where I'm getting.
Yeah, right, and that's why we had to go to a
We
bigger
wouldn't
one.
contract with anyone without some guarantees or something.
Not that I didn't wanna see Mike Ulof get the job,
No.
do the job.
Hey, that's-
Baker,
I think
Terry
we
Ann
should
and
get at
Richard.
least
That's what it was, it was Baker, not
That's all.
Butler, Baker.
Well, that's the other thing, if you go with, a smaller firm and there's a problem, I don't know how many times they can come back before you really hurt them financially, if it's not working out, and that's a concern.
And that's why Baker came, they evaluated the whole area, they gave us the price and they guaranteed it.
Well, that'd
But
be
we can
somebody
go
that
down
knows.
and get an estimate from them too.
Yeah,
I would.
that's a very big
Chief,
firm.
if you give me a report when you get a chance of all the other facilities too, that would be helpful. And just to let you know that we do have authorization to request qualifications from architects. We take a look at this building, I'm in the process of developing that now. I don't know what the cost would be, but at least to evaluate what's needed in this building over the next 5 years.
I'll get you my report.
Next item, connect abandoned blighted properties. Again, Munhall is part of this Connect group. Connect has contracted with a legal firm that has a expert, and I met with her along with other municipalities yesterday over at Pitt. They will be giving a presentation to Connect as well as will give a presentation to us. If we want to utilize that firm in helping us in resolving our abandoned and vacant properties, obviously there's a cost to it. I don't know what that cost is yet. I did inform our solicitor about that. He's very interested. I don't know if he wants to do this stuff, but until such time as we have a presentation and if we want to participate, it's something that we'll decide down the future. But it's a group rate for like, right now, 12 different municipalities. For your need to know, website redesign. Our web mistress will be meeting with us, the staff, on Monday morning. We'll be spending a few hours here. We're looking for old photographs, if anybody has any, just for the history part of Munhall relative to the website.
There is a lot probably in his office, but.
I have several Sergeant Avrilla in uniform.
In uniform.
What?
Really
Go
old
get him
pictures.
there. I got him.
You have glasses and orange. At any rate, something that we want to run by council, we're trying to come up with a Munhall Borough logo, rather than the municipal building, because Munhall is more than just this building, it's a community. So we're playing around, and she's coming up with some concepts. Obviously, we're not making a decision in a vacuum. That would be brought to council down the road as this evolves.
I'd do the coloring different though.
Yeah, the
I'd do
color's
maroon
key.
and gold.
This is just a concept.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, we're thinking that way.
Yeah, and I was thinking of it to be half accent when I said it.
What the
That's
mayor
the first thing he
voted
would
for
say.
this. The mayor voted for these colors.
He got mad at me because I didn't have the right color maroon when we did that t-shirt. That's red. That's.
Don't you remember the t-shirt design? You wanted the Indian, we went with the,
Wait, that Indian better be on there.
The big, I mean, like the big Indian one.
Yeah.
We gotta get out the Indians.
The big Indian must be on there.
we wanted the centennial thing on it. There's centennial.
Indians though.
He's still mad today.
Rich, did you want the floor?
Yes, sir.
It's all yours.
Thank you. I never did hear nothing about this street sweeping.
Oh.
I emailed you a couple times.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I didn't
The
have.
dog keeps asking about it, and I have no answer for him.
I have a contract here that we'll be hopefully executing at the next meeting between the COG and Munhall for street sweeping. To set a schedule, I just got this the other day, so we'll be doing that at our
Well,
next
they
meeting.
want a list of the streets that we want done, and they need that, the way.
Yeah, I talked to, we have it here, I just didn't have it on my prepared, but I do, and thank you for reminding me.
And another thing, I like to just say, bring up, I know everybody knows that the mayor's getting operated on tomorrow.
Yes.
And I think we ought to, maybe take up a collection, everybody pitch in a little bit, and after he, out of the surgery, and send him a fruit basket or something.
He likes cookies too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
He really likes cookies. He sounds some
agree.
fancy cookies. Yeah, he really does love cookies.
So I do.
You put it out of our pocket right now?
Well, we could go ahead and arrange that.
No,
We'll reimburse it,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it is, we'll reimburse it.
I buy breakfast. They can take
I'm having
it,
surgery, you can't buy me breakfast.
they can take it out of our pay or whatever, our checks, and,
We can arrange it and we'll worry about the, what I hear, $50 each? Is that what it is?
whatever.
Hey, whatever it takes.
I don't have that budget.
There's truffles.
Holy hell.
Truffles.
He does like.
There's one other issue I forgot to put on here, the name of the person that we have to advance to the enterprise zone to represent the businesses, I forget his name.
The guy from the solar,
Starts with a T.
no, the other guy.
I'll bring it up to the next
I had
meeting.
him-
We have to make an appointment to the enterprise zone.
Steven.
Yes, that was last week.
Who is this guy?
He ran the solar guy for, he ran the bridge party, and all the lights under the bridge, he has a business on 8th Avenue, in Monmouth.
The name escapes me, and I forgot to put it
I
on
remember
here, but
once.
we have to at least make that appointment, I'll bring it up for the next
And
meeting.
when do we
He's only gave me
appoint,
the name, and I forget.
when do we appoint COG members? Like, you two guys are the COG members from the borough. Do we vote to reappoint you, or
Yes.
Reorganization,
Every 2 years.
every year, or every 2 years? Every 2 years you do that.
Every
So we haven't
year.
voted on that since
A year.
a year ago.
You never voted.
I never voted. That's why I'm asking. I'm on the bylaw.
That's the big one.
That is the vote.
I got one thing too, on the civil service commission thing with the police, anything going on with that? I mean, there was
Can't
that
talk about here.
litigation.
Where we are, we're talking about the issue of the 5% pension payment on 11/13, I guess.
Pop didn't get it, not
The documents have been submitted from both councils to the Council for the Civil Service Commission. They're being reviewed. The only thing I could say is that there needs to be a meeting for them to make a decision. That date has not been established.
Who decides that mean?
They do.
That was the civil service commission will set that meeting.
Okay,
I got two things. Paul Fisher would like council's approval, he'd like to, use Wood Hills basketball courts from 9:30 till 11 to work with his son's basketball team up until, softball has their opening day.
AM or
We
PM?
didn't know how to answer them because we
9:30
never,
to when?
till 11 in the
11?
morning.
In the
So it's like
morning.
an hour and a half.
And what are the dates?
It's
Every
open.
Saturday,
Every Saturday?
up until the opening of the girls softball.
He wants
It's open
exclusive-
anyhow.
he wants exclusive use to it.
He just doesn't want anyone else to use the court.
Right, and we didn't know how to answer, you know, because we never, council has never
That's why we
okayed.
need a park and rec board.
Right.
Yeah, that would be something
But
there.
he would like to have it, you know, starting ASAP, I guess next week or whatever.
You really think there's gonna be anybody else up there than him?
He's just looking, I mean,
Yeah, I know.
Well, Mr. Brain, you're up that area, I mean, is there people there
There
using it?
are kids up there that are using it.
right, so he's talking about probably 10 kids.
He wants a letter, a piece of paper saying.
The net's good and everything up there.
That should be okay.
Are there nets up, I should say?
My son was down there shoveling the snow off the court.
So there's probably nets up there.
2 to 3 days ago, so I didn't go down and watch him shovel it, but he said he was alone down there. Why don't we give him half a court?
Because they'll probably want to play on full court because it's, you know, 10 or 11 kids.
It's an hour and a half we're talking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
9:30
I
till
don't see
11.
the problem.
I think you should give it to him.
I think so, too.
It's tough to go up there if there's any kids on there.
It's
just
an hour and a
not
half, not
meeting.
peak season.
I mean, he's just concerned if other kids start coming or whatever. Second thing is, with that Jerry Sandusky,
Don't say Jason.
I think he should.
yeah, there's a lot of new laws that got put in starting July, I think first of this year, you have to have clearances, background clearance, all coaches, anyone that deals with children anymore has to have clearances now. The borough should also, or should make sure all coaches that use our facilities are
Well, that's a good point.
because we could be sued.
Then,
About time.
I don't know that that's our purview.
It is. I mean, you have to, because they're using
So
your.
we're gonna assume
Because
liability.
there was a big argument on Pitt, because Pitt, University of Pitt was allowing, you know, people to use their facilities, and they were, the audit came back saying, some of these coaches didn't have clearance, and you weren't keeping track of it.
Well, we're not renting to coaches, we're renting to associations, and we're allowing associations.
Yeah, but I
They
mean,
should get.
Lawsuits could
Well, what
go,
if they don't, though? You're right.
lawsuits could go, I mean, if a child gets molested there, it's on your property.
Well,
Absolutely.
You can be included in the lawsuit, not saying that you pay, but you could be included in it.
You're absolutely
We'll talk to
right.
Greg, and I think we'll have some kind of waiver drawn up that says
Good
that
idea.
you're taking the responsibility to have the proper.
Because I know the
clearance.
school system has to go through it now, and everybody's gonna.
Yeah, I know that.
You mean you're talking like every
You're
color,
elected,
Steel
so
Valley
it's
Little
easy.
League up there?
Absolutely.
Every
yes.
coach.
I like that.
You have to have a clearance, and I heard 2 years from now, you're gonna have to have an FBI clearance in 2 years.
Well, right now, it's at 34,
It's the
30.
criminal
Yeah,
and,
State police.
criminal and the child abuse.
let's make sure that we're not paying to have these clearances done if we do take this over.
No.
I mean, on some of baseball, softball, basketball.
Back to the basketball court for a year and a half, what are you gonna do?
I mean,
I think you should let them have it.
Give them a letter.
You gonna give him a letter saying he has it for?
Yeah, it's just, if he goes up there, if someone says, hey, we're
Give
doing
something
this,
official.
hey, we have it for, an hour and a half.
Some of the municipalities related to the clearances do require that the volunteer coaches do go to the 33, 34, whatever certification. Usually costs like 10 to 15 years ago. The volunteer coach has to reimburse the municipality. Again, that's what
Even
the
though
board-
I already had these from
The
work.
local police were allowed to do that, now they're not allowed to, that's good for the state.
So we're gonna ask for a clearance from this guy?
I've already cleared.
We're gonna do.
I already asked you, like, what we need to clear.
Oh, you already told it?
I said, God bless
I
him.
said, do you realize, making a
I'm with you, give them an official letter.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
I mean, if you want me to, I'll make sure all Still Valley youth baseball, the girls softball this year,
Everybody.
the
Soccer.
midget football, the
you get,
soccer.
you could go to one of their meetings or whatever it is and just tell them, you have to have Act 34, 33.
Yeah.
Clearance.
You gotta be clearance.
Yeah, baseball already does it.
And if you don't have it, you
Baseball
can't do it.
hasn't done it.
They
in
don't,
years.
they don't do it?
Nope.
They did it every year I was there.
They stopped doing it for a while.
Steel
You mean
Valley
Steel Valley?
baseball? Well, they need to do it.
Right.
Steel Valley High School?
Baseball.
Still Valley youth baseball.
Oh, youth baseball.
We used to do it, now they did away with that.
You're
Oh, that
kidding.
has to change.
And I was at their last meeting, they said, well, we'll look at it by case thing.
Oh,
And I said,
no, no.
But they voted to do it, I said,
I
no.
listened to me.
When is their next meeting, Kim? Is it tonight then?
Police.
Next Sunday. Third Sunday.
It's a Thursday.
I think,
I'll be there.
have a problem with recreation.
I think we should go.
Where you gonna be? Where they have it at?
Maybe recreation committee can come with
What
that.
time?
We need.
I think us,
6
Yeah,
o'clock?
recreation
Sunday.
committee,
Third Sunday of the month.
yeah, third Sunday.
Yeah, because they brought that up as, no, it's a state requirement. You
oh,
have
they
to-
gotta
and
have
they-
that.
Yeah.
I think
No,
it's
it's not
like
a
you
case
said.
But they're not playing
Midget
baseball.
football,
No.
softball.
That's all
Yeah,
they do.
No,
Soccer?
that can't be case by
You have
case, they have
soccer,
to
right,
have it done.
exactly.
You know, they,
Who would pick which case would be case?
Yeah, you can't do
That's
cases.
why I said.
somebody doesn't like somebody, or they heard a rumor about
We'll have
somebody
Dave
else.
Cannon down there
You know,
picking case by case.
Yeah.
Anything else? Otherwise,
Yeah, I have one thing I wanna mention, if you don't mind.
No, you have the floor, sir.
It has nothing to do with the fire department, but it's something that drives me nuts. 25 years ago, a friend of mine hit a telephone pole on West Run Road. So we just hit the pole, something ran out in front of the pole, put the pole, knocked it down, it fell on the ground. Within 2 weeks, he received a bill from Duquesne Light for $1,800
Right.
for the pole, and he had to pay it. Actually, his insurance company paid it. I don't know why. We have replaced, as a borough, I'm speaking as a taxpayer, as a borough, we've replaced 3 of the decorative poles up on Main Street due to accidents. And we keep replacing the flyover ramp, that stupid guardrail, and it drives me nuts.
Don't we have to
Because
have,
there's money flying out.
catch the person that hits it?
Every single time this happens, there's a police
Don't
report.
catch them,
We've got reimbursed for insurance companies for Main Street poles. Not all of them, but we have.
We should get if their car's sitting there was a police report done, we should get reimbursed, and we should bill that insurance company. That police report goes to the borough
We do,
officer.
we know.
bill.
We have.
You know what I mean? And same thing with the guardrail down there. Every time that guardrail's ripped up, there's a police, you can ask Pat, but most of the time there's a police car down there, because the truck's hung up on the guardrail, there's a police report on it. We shouldn't be paying for all that
So
stuff.
you.
It makes me crazy, and I need to say something, I apologize.
You missed the first part of our meeting, it's being replaced by the county.
Yeah, I heard that, no, I heard
Yeah, it's
that.
gonna get run over again, though.
But we always pay for it.
Not to say our men can't fix guardrails, I saw them out there fixing a guardrail today.
I think you need those 8-inch pipes with cement in them, put them there, let's see if Buck has
We
those.
still have to look at the railroad air rights to see what liability they have.
I think, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I've noticed, since 885 been done, West Run Road's terrible.
Friday night on Mooney Road and West Run Road at 5 o'clock on Friday.
You ain't getting out.
You can't get out.
And them buses,
15-minute wait.
they took a bus off that route 5 years ago, or 6 years ago.
I talked to
They
the
took a
mayor
bus
about
and
it.
fine.
It was backed up to the A-field one day.
I'll entertain
Trying
a
to get
motion.
out West Marion.
You can talk about that.
No,
all
no, we're
night.
talking about it right now.
No, I'm, motion.
Motion to adjourn, we can adjourn, we can still say we're talking.
Are you driving down?
No second, okay, just gonna stay here.
I'll give you a second, I'll give you a second.
I'll give you a second.
I'll give you a second.
to be able to ask you.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, you can take the crap Give me a report in the morning.
I'm not sure.
If you don't like it, we'll move it.
When you go to the Memorial Day meeting on May 3rd, and here at 1:30, when you come up to the, he usually has it.
No, you can't. You gotta have it.